with Wesley and Will.
Welcome to another episode of Other Side News. I'm Wesley.
I'm Will.
And today we want to talk about wrestling. Or sports entertainment. Whichever term you prefer. I had to say wrestling. I miss WCW. I still miss WCW.
We've spent many episodes talking about Star Wars and superheroes and movies, but for a long time, starting around 1986, we were some of the biggest wrestling fans, going all the way up into the 2000s. So, we have yet to talk, obviously, about wrestling, and so Royal Rumble coming up this weekend, we wanted to at least throw around, our knowledge or our interest in wrestling and what our favorite matches, favorite wrestlers were, and then also some Royal Rumble predictions, because I have some dream matches that I would like to see come out of this Royal Rumble this weekend. Usually I get interested in wrestling nowadays around Royal Rumble and WrestleMania. I still watch every WrestleMania. I still have WWE Network, but I spend most of my time watching the old Nitro days and stuff like that. So, but your favorite WWE memories, and then we can kind of go from there. What do you think?
Oh, well, the first thing I can remember is seeing Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant at WrestleMania 3. I remember watching that on pay-per-view, and that's kind of when it all started for me. Definitely some of my favorites were Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 12. Definitely Kurt Angle against Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania 19. It was just amazing match between those two guys. And anyone who thought Brock Lesnar couldn't work just were silenced when they saw him work with Kurt Angle, because they put on a show. And he damn near broke his neck by trying a shooting star press. For what reason? Only he knows.
Only he knows, yeah.
So yeah, and then of course, Macho Man, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. One of the greatest matches of all time, and that's because Macho Man made sure it was going to be one of the greatest matches of all time.
Yeah.
So how about you? Some of your favorite?
WrestleMania 3 was the first one that I got to see live, and for me, the match that stole the show, of course, I had been following it, was Macho Man and Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, and those two working together was just excellent. I think that a missed opportunity at WrestleMania 4, but we were pretty diehard, going into the 90s, enjoying obviously like Bret Hart and Owen Hart feud, and then obviously I'm old school, but I still enjoyed going into 2000s when you had Edge and Christian and Jericho making his jumping from WCW with Dean Malenko and the late great Eddie Guerrero, and so we've gotten the opportunity to see a lot of great wrestlers.
A lot of great people to CM Punk and John Cena and Daniel Bryan.
Which is pretty much where I fell out. After CM Punk left, I was just I've lost interest, because everybody today just seems kind of boring, and it's been interesting because I've been, with Goldberg coming back, I've kind of been watching Raw and checking in, but at the same time, I've been watching around WrestleMania 3 and WrestleMania 4 and how the matches built back then and how the matches are being built right now. Now, this year, to me, with the Royal Rumble, is really interesting because you have so many different dream matches that could come out of this, but the rumor around the campfires, we're going to get the same old, same-o.
Yeah.
One of those being Brock Lesnar versus Goldberg that I just don't give a shit about.
Yeah, and like, as a wrestling fan, you always think of the dream matches. They failed to deliver with Sting in all aspects. I'm a huge fan of Sting, and I wish he had never signed to WWE. I'm happy for him that he's in the Hall of Fame. Yay for his
we got a badass
5
DVD
matches.
set.
Yeah, for his 5 matches, 2 wins, 1 by DQ, and then his 2 pay-per-view losses, and then the end of his career.
Thank you, Seth Rollins.
Way to go. Way to go. Good job. Good job.
You suck.
Yeah. So, seeing as how he was just poorly mistreated, and for whatever reason, there's lots of reasons on both sides, we never got Sting and The Undertaker. Could have been something to do with that. But coming into this WrestleMania, we have another possible dream match that has never happened and could be very interesting, being The Undertaker and Goldberg.
Which is what I am behind.
It's pretty huge. As a fan, that's the one I would want to see for a few reasons. One, The Undertaker has only lost once at WrestleMania. Goldberg has never been beaten cleanly. I think he's only lost like 5 times, but not once has he been beaten clean. And after his domination of Brock Lesnar at Survivor Series, all you got to do is give him a dominant run in the Rumble, and Goldberg will be as hot as you need him to be to go into this match. He will look like a monster, but that's not what they're going to do. They're going to do
unless
Brock
it's
Lesnar,
a huge swerve.
Goldberg.
A huge swerve. Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody's saying it's going to be a rematch with Brock Lesnar and Goldberg.
And that'd be really funny if Goldberg just jackhammers him and throws him out, and then that's just the end of that. But I don't see them doing that to their resident monster. Part-timer or not, Lesnar's going to be around longer than Goldberg.
Yeah, but it just doesn't make any sense. Even if he beats Goldberg, it's like, who cares? You had a shit match at WrestleMania 20. You got buried at Survivor Series, so you come back and you win. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Who cares? I don't even remotely care. Do you care, really?
No, I don't care about that
because
match.
Their WrestleMania,
that's what they're going to do.
The WrestleMania match, it sucked. And what was great about that card was it was followed by Kane and Undertaker to see two other big, wrestlers that... And I know the circumstances. Brock Lesnar was going UFC.
They were both leaving.
Goldberg was leaving, and they didn't really give a shit. Well, that's why I fucking didn't care about Goldberg.
That's why that's why they should have done that match at Survivor Series that year, but that's neither here nor there.
But they're teasing it. They're teasing something, obviously, because you had at Monday Night Raw, you had Goldberg, you had Brock Lesnar, and at the end you had The Undertaker show up, staring them both down.
I definitely think they'll all be in the Rumble at the same time, because just for the spectacle of that, it'll be interesting to see what comes out of that. Because my personal prediction for The Undertaker, I don't have to see, because a couple things got to happen, is if John Cena defeats AJ Styles for the WWE title at the Royal Rumble, I'll predict he's going to face The Undertaker at WrestleMania.
And I don't give a shit.
And personally, I think if you set it up, The Undertaker is going to retire, I think that match alone sells out WrestleMania, because it's never happened in the Cena is the man era. And so it could be interesting from that aspect. I really think that if Kevin Owens beats Roman Reigns, then Chris Jericho will win the Royal Rumble, because they've been kind of teasing that. And Chris Jericho is just the best consistent superstar.
I totally don't see him winning the
that
Royal
they
Rumble.
have going.
No way.
The guy is consistent in the ring, and he can get over a list. He got over a piece of paper. I don't know how you do that. But I think they might do that just to kind of force the feud. But then there's also even though recent news report says Kurt Angle will not be making his return at the Royal Rumble, that could be smoke and mirrors, and he could be the monkey wrench thrown into this.
How awesome is it that Kurt Angle is making it into the Hall of Fame?
That is...
I think it's awesome, because Kurt Angle is one of my favorites.
Yes.
Was very dominant in his time. But here we've spent this entire time talking about the legends that are going to be in Royal Rumble, the legends that are going to be making your card for WrestleMania, and we're not talking about Kevin Owens or Roman Reigns or any of these guys. Why?
Well, I will say of the current roster,
boring.
because we don't watch as much as we used to, but with the current roster, Kevin Owens he's good on the mic, and for the way he looks, he doesn't look like your stereotypical professional wrestler, even old or new, but the way he can move in the ring, the guy he's very impressive to watch. I've enjoyed him. I think, they were right to put the belt on him. I think he plays a good heel. And then giving him the little mentorship relationship under Chris Jericho has done nothing but good things for him.
Right.
I definitely, I think that's been a good pairing. Roman Reigns is just boring. He is, and now he did have a good match with Jericho on this past, Raw, until the whole shark cage thing got in. That was very WCW. I still miss WCW. I don't care how goofy they were. That made me think of RoboCop saving Sting.
That shark cage is only there to sell toys.
Yeah, but still, I thought he put on a good. Roman had a good match with Jericho, but once again, you're with Jericho. You have to try to have a bad match with someone of that caliber. And personality-wise, he's just boring. He did have a good program with Rusev, which Rusev is a guy that I don't understand why they keep mistreating him. That's a monster waiting to happen. The
WrestleMania that they basically had a lot of their legends, I think it was WrestleMania 30.
It was. WrestleMania 30 should have been called WrestleMania The Burial.
We're going to bury all of our new talent, and that's why you're in this.
We buried Bray Wyatt. We buried Seth Rollins.
Yeah.
Until we had him win the fucking title. We buried Roman Reigns. We buried Rusev, and we buried Sting. Basically,
all in the same night.
Yeah, all in the same night.
And they're like, we have nobody else to carry the show. And that's my thing today, is like, I don't know if...
Which is why it was shocking they went with AJ Styles. And I'll be shocked. I want him to win at the Rumble. But I'll be shocked if he does. Because, to me, WrestleMania feels more like for the moments now rather than the completion of a story.
Yes.
I have yet to see a long story get carried
moment.
into WrestleMania. And I just see John Cena standing nose to nose with The Undertaker. They'll view that as the moment, even if they only spend 2 months building it. You know, because there is no long feud going right now. The longest feud running right now is Goldberg and Brock Lesnar, starting back in Survivor Series.
Right.
You know.
And I used to think that was just because there's too many pay-per-views, but, I mean, if you look at, like, Edge and John Cena, or CM Punk and John Cena, or, I mean, they know how to fucking do it, even though you've got, 12 months, well, I don't even know how many pay-per-views are out now, isn't it? Two a month?
Yeah. It's got...
but you're doing your SmackDown, you got your Raw thing going on. Yeah, it is two different shows. But it's just like, there doesn't seem to be... It really reminds me of WCW, where they just drop the ball at the big moment. Except for, I will back up and go, the Goldberg, Brock Lesnar surprised me.
Yes. That was the first time in a long time they did something surprising, and I know a lot of... Well, it was only because a lot of people on the internet hated it, but the fans in the arena loved it. You know, and since time has passed, it's getting more of a positive look because it was so shocking, it was so unexpected, and it was the best thing you could do because it's like that. The whole thing was set up as a shoot. Right. It wasn't set up as a wrestling match. It was Goldberg's here to kick Brock Lesnar's ass, and so it had that element of unpredictability where...
That's why, to me, it's got to be Goldberg versus Undertaker, because you beat the guy that beat the Undertaker. Now you got to beat the Undertaker, or what was really the point in burying Brock Lesnar. Yeah. Even if he comes back and beats you, you still beat him twice, he beat you once. You guys going to fight again? I don't think Brock Lesnar's contract's even, or Goldberg's contract's even that long.
Oh no, I totally agree with you. Goldberg and the Undertaker would be my pick.
So if you didn't have, there was no Brock Lesnar, no Goldberg, no Undertaker at this Royal Rumble leading towards WrestleMania, would you even care about wrestling today? Anything going on?
No, to be honest, there are very talented people. Seth Rollins is very talented. Braun Strowman is a very interesting monster, up and coming, as long as they don't screw him up. Bray Wyatt is very talented, but constantly misused. Rusev has all of, if you were looking for a young talent to dethrone Brock Lesnar,
I know.
Rusev was perfect for that.
Yeah.
I like what Sheamus and Cesaro are doing as a tag team. I wish they had more interesting tag teams, but they're just kind of lacking there. Finn Balor is good when he comes back, if he comes back. He was entertaining while he was there. Whole cup of coffee, he was in the company and won a championship and then left. Yeah. So there are genuinely talented people, but the problem I see is that a lot of them lack personality.
Besides, some of them cannot fucking talk on a mic, and I think they need to bring back some Bobby Heenans and some...
Yeah, some managers would be good.
We need some managers to come back.
And also really good heels. Guys that enjoy being heels. Yeah. You're missing some good villains, because... Brock Lesnar, even with Paul Heyman, the only reason Brock Lesnar, even though he gets cheered like a motherfucker, the only reason he's maybe sometimes perceived as a heel is because he's with Paul Heyman.
Right.
Because it is hard to root against Brock Lesnar.
Right.
Because it's hard to root against that guy that doesn't... Well, I'm just saying, from a realistic standpoint, he doesn't cheat.
Yeah.
He doesn't run. He just kicks your ass. It's the Legion of Doom problem. Yeah. It's tough to be a heel there.
Yeah.
But on the flip side of that, you have a guy like The Miz, who's one of the best heels in WWE and has been, because you can tell he really embraces it.
Yeah.
He loves being
Edge.
a bad guy. Yeah, Edge.
Rated R superstar.
Edge was a good face, but a much better heel. He just embraced that hatred. And I think they're really lacking that, which is like Chris Jericho, consistently such a hateable guy, yet he can be such a likable guy. He's very good at it. He gets really into the character, and I think they're missing that because Roman Reigns is boring.
Yeah.
Rusev is a monster, but they don't let him talk enough. He's actually pretty entertaining.
I'm surprised they didn't just decide to put the Shield together and with some dynamic to try it, besides these little...
Well, I do think right now that they have the Shield right where... or the former members of the Shield, right where they need to be. I really hope Roman doesn't win at the Royal Rumble, because I think he served better in the United States the upper mid card.
Mm-hmm.
Just like Dean Ambrose seems to be doing very well as Intercontinental Champion.
Mm-hmm.
Because that just seems to be where they are right now.
Yeah.
I mean, Dean Ambrose had his run with the title, and he held it for a little while, but it's pretty forgettable.
Now, one of my highlights we've not talked anything about from last year's WrestleMania has got to be Charlotte Flair.
Yes, the women's wrestling has really
increased
stepped it up.
Yes, I thought that Charlotte Flair's match at the last WrestleMania was the best match of the night.
Yeah.
And I've watched, the women's matches are. I don't think the women's division has been consistently as good since the days of.
Yeah.
Ivory, Jacqueline.
That's what I was going to say. Back when you had real wrestlers.
Yeah, that's been nice. That we've gotten rid of the fucking models.
Most of them. And even the ones that came in as kind of models, like the Bellas, still not the greatest wrestlers, but they can still perform.
Right. So definitely, I give the WWE 2 thumbs up for the women's division. All I know is we got a lot of good stuff going on at the Rumble, and we're just gonna bitch and complain about it after the Rumble if it doesn't turn out the way that.
Well, like I said, I said my predictions, and I really think the title matches are going to, because the Rumble is just storytelling now, and usually the last couple of years it's been used to make their next star,
right,
or try to make their next star. But who going into this Rumble fits that bill? That's the problem. Who has any momentum behind them?
Yeah.
Of an up-and-coming talent
that's
going to come and win this.
They've given it to Goldberg.
Exactly.
Goldberg's, saying with blood pouring down his head at Monday Night Raw. I don't...
I think he said it was the fans, but I think he headbutted that locker so hard he gave himself a damn concussion. Because that had to be, until he started yelling at Lesnar, that was the worst promo I've ever seen him deliver.
He couldn't get his shit together. Anyways, and we'll see how much he can get his shit together, It'll be disappointing if he draws like number 25 or some shit, and he really only has to. I would love to see him pull number 1. You want to impress me,
Or I want to see
Ric Flair could do it.
I want to see either him or Lesnar draw number 1.
I would love to see Brock Lesnar draw number 1
because I think Brock Lesnar
has everybody kick his ass off.
But I think he has the stamina to do it to pull a early number. And just kind of manhandle the first few people. Because we know, just as wrestling fans, there are certain setups you see. The ring is going to be empty when either Lesnar or Goldberg is standing in there.
Or
for the other to come out.
At some point in time.
Yeah. That's gonna happen. They'll have their showdown. And that's really telling of what's... Because I'm just thinking from Goldberg's perspective, and I hate to go back to this, but why the fuck would he face Lesnar at WrestleMania? He has nothing to prove. Unless Goldberg's in the ring, dominating the shit out of it, the fucking gong goes, the buzzer goes, Lesnar comes running out with a steel chair and fucks Goldberg up for 10 minutes and then throws his broken body out into the crowd. What motivation does Goldberg have to fight Lesnar?
And that's what I think the whole work is. Somewhere Brock gets thrown out, and Goldberg gets screwed over and pulled out of the ring, and that sets up their WrestleMania fight, and that's how you end up getting a Chris Jericho winning, or even Undertaker pulling off the win, because Undertaker
would be awesome.
Undertaker looked fucking great at Monday Night Raw, so it's like, who knows? Because
also though, even on that same token, is that if Undertaker wins the Royal Rumble, I wouldn't bitch too much about Undertaker AJ Styles.
But again, what does the WWE do when Undertaker retires? He is part of the ticket sales. Beating the streak. Well, that got beat, but it's just,
Try and create him as a constellation in the heavens, I guess, because I don't know. I want The Undertaker to retire, because for lots of reasons, but mainly, I'm a big fan, and I don't want to see him get hurt.
Anyways, who do you think's going to win the Royal Rumble? Put the comments down there below, and let's see. Maybe winner will get something, if you can guess it.
Yeah, and my pick is, I think, either... Do I have to pick one?
Yeah.
Chris Jericho.
You're going with Chris Jericho. I'm saying... Who do I think's going to win? I'm saying they're going to throw a big swerve, and it'll be my man, Sami Zayn.
What a douchebag.
I'm Will.
I'm Leslie.
We're out.